What's up, y'all? It's your girl Drea, and you're watching the episode of Make It Make Sense podcast. And I'm with my good friend Angel.
Hi, guys.
Trying to get Angel on the podcast like since before the podcast had even launched.
Before it even had a title.
Before it had a title. So she was a person who I've been like talking to for quite some time about this idea. Was it like over a year and a half?
Yeah, most
about
definitely.
2 years.
I would definitely say a year and a half.
Yeah, it's been a while, but we're here, and today's topic, as you all can tell by the title, is why am I single?
Why am I single?
So we need to talk about this.
Where?
Wait. The married. She's showing the ring, y'all.
Yeah.
She's talking about. So we're talking about being single, but she also saying that ring though.
It matters.
But look. Ring fingers matter. ring finger matter. But anyway, so let's kind of get started in the discussion. I mean, like one of the things that Angel and I do often is just talk about like where we are, what different things we're going through in life. We go through life together, right? And so one of the topics that we constantly kind of go back to is like, why am I not dating?
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to get your perspective, and I really was thinking about who would be great for this conversation, and I couldn't think of nobody else. So what's your thoughts on that?
I guess the older that I get, the more complicated this topic becomes.
Thanks.
Because when you're younger, you have your life completely mapped out. Like, you're going to be in this career by this age. You are going to have kids by this age. You're going to be married by this age. Like, you pretty much have your whole life mapped out. And then when reality hits and you're that age that you were supposed to be married, have this amazing career, have children, none of that has happened. And so I personally am faced with the reality of what is my why? And why am I still single? Why am I not married?
Right. Okay.
And I'm 28.
Right. So we're talking about being single and married. I think we're kind of coupling this here in the discussion. We know that they're two totally different topics. So just flow with us. Wherever we go, just go. And before we really get into this, I want to thank everyone who have been checking out the last 2 episodes. It's been 2, right? Last 2 episodes of Make It Make Sense podcast. And I just appreciate all the love, the support, the comments, just people messaging me privately, even texting me. I love you all so much. Thank you so much. So let's go get right into the topic, because I can go on. I know, right? We can just go on and on and on. But on the topic of not being single, and let's table the topic of not being married.
Okay.
So while we're talking about why we're not single, I guess when Angel was talking and what my perspective have been is like, yes, you have these checklists, right? So, like, as we're saved women, like, we love Jesus a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And so, since we're saved, I think for me, my perspective on dating is different. Oh. Like, I know I could date somebody,
definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I know that you can date someone, like, whoever you want. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, what holds me back, because I'm an intentional dater, that's the problem for me. It's not even that, like, I don't want to go out and I don't want to have a good time or date. It's like, oh no, I'm looking at a couple different things that are not even like worldly. When I say worldly, it's not about how much money he has in his account. It's not about what position or role he plays in his job or hobby, whatever he does, or if he's an entrepreneur. Right. It's not even all of that. It literally has a lot to do with his walk with God, if I can be completely honest. I mean, if y'all want to know, fellas, if there's some fellas on this who's catching this podcast, if you want to know what Christian women are thinking, we don't really be caring. And I know that's a really blanket statement to say for every Christian
really just
woman.
need you to be submitted to Christ. Like,
yes.
I mean,
okay, explain that, because like that's just way too like.
So I need you to be actively pursuing God, actively pursuing the things of God. Your heart has to be postured to serve Him. Not, I just go to church on Sundays. Like, it just don't stop there. Like, being a Christian does not stop at Sunday service. Attendance of the church. Okay. So it's definitely where is your heart and how much does Christ truly mean to you?
Yes.
I'm also realizing that as a single woman, one of the reasons why I'm single is my limited experience with men.
Okay, talk about that. Wait. Talk about it. Talk about it, because that's a whole... I don't think a lot of people come to that realization. So go ahead.
So I had to personally come to this realization, and when I tell y'all I was sliding down the walls, it was like the most dramatic thing a person could ever do. I was sliding down the walls because I'm like, how am I still single? Like, it's almost like a checklist that you have. Like, I have this, I have that.
Right.
But for me personally, growing up in the church, we were told to wait. And
wait in what?
Wait on God to send you your
I was like, make it plain.
Spouse, your mate. You know, you are Ruth, and you know your Boaz is going to come. Yes. But in order for Boaz to come, you have to be doing something. Yes. You have to be present somewhere. And I was not present pretty much anywhere. I was guarded. I had this wall up. I thought that my significant other would just appear out of the clear blue sky. I didn't think I had to date. And I came from a background where dating was actually kind of forbidden.
Okay. Yeah.
I was pretty much told that you shouldn't date. Right. You don't need to date to find your spouse. And all of this now...
Yes. It's just so jacked up. I'm sorry, because I have to chime in. You going somewhere and I got to hop on this train there. Yes. Because listen... I think if we could talk about this, I think older Christian women in the church, if you are like young Christian women growing up around older Christian women in the church, a lot of the conversation is, people don't really talk about how to date.
They don't.
They just say the normal things. Don't have sex until you're married.
Exactly.
Don't shack up with somebody. Don't live with nobody until you're married. But not the proper way to get to know someone, you know, just... Even if they're not your husband, even if they're not your spouse, like it's how do you interact with them? You know,
I feel like we haven't been taught how to forge healthy platonic relationships.
Yes,
and in that, with dating, it's almost you have to reprogram yourself because you think every man that you meet or date is your husband. So you're like, okay, I'm going out on a date. Is it him? Is it him? Okay, is this my Boaz? And it's like, but what if that person is just supposed to be like a really nice friend, you know? So I'm learning how to establish friendship with men.
Yes. Okay.
So
I want to pop up on that one because this is my thing. I grew up like being exposed to a lot of guys, and when I say exposed, it's like school, college, campus. Like I didn't have a problem having a platonic relationship with a guy. The issue was I got awkward when it was time to switch. When I was like, wait, this ain't no normal conversation. This is getting deeper than that, you know. As a Christian, like being intentional dating. It's like I'm cool when we like you my bro, like we good, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool. But when it's like, did he just say I'm cute? And he didn't say that like he's saying that to his sister. He said that like because he want to see me be cute some more. Like that was like a whole different for me. Like, oh my gosh, like what in the world? How do I do this? It's the transition. But I've always said that I wanted the man that I end up marrying, I wanted to be his friend first. Yes. Because I believe that after all, things happen. Life happens. Relationships have their ups and downs. And I want to be like, I like this person, right? Mm-hmm. Because I personally don't think love is enough in a marriage or a dating relationship to stay with somebody. Okay? Let's talk about it. I personally don't believe that because you can love someone enough to release them, right? Oh. Okay. Right, exactly. Like, I really feel like that is very misleading, you know, to say, you know, oh, you find somebody you fall in love with and then you marry them. Yeah. No, there's so many things. Like, I want to just be like, I like this person. They're annoying, but I like them. Yeah, I don't want them. I enjoy being around them. I enjoy being around them. And granted, you're going to be annoyed with them sometimes and not want to be around them, but I still want to be kind to them when I'm upset, you know, and I feel like people, they don't like the people that they're with. They love them. I know that sounds weird because it's like, how do you love and do all these other things? But I feel like people do that, but they don't like the people, so they do stuff to hurt them. Yeah. on like intentionally plot to hurt.
And I not to cut you off,
No,
but
you're
I
good.
personally
Go ahead,
think I don't want to have to tolerate anyone. Like I genuinely want to absorb your air, be obsessed with your air. Like I genuinely want to.
Wait, did you just say absorb your air?
Yes, I want to absorb it. I want to be obsessed with it. You know, all the things. All the things. But I don't want to tolerate that person. And I think that I've seen a lot of couples that were dating. There is no friendship because it's like dating, court, marriage, or even just court, marriage. This whole process is 6 months. So, in the midst of that, there hasn't been much foundation that has been laid. And I think what Drea is saying in terms of the friendship, I think that is the foundation that you start with the opposite sex or the person that you're interested in. So.
Yeah. And I want to kind of go into this direction here where I want to make it more. See, y'all know about me. Like, if I'm going to talk about something, I'm going to give a practical, real example. And so I like to think about, I feel like 2020 couples are a different breed. I think people who met their best friends, spouses, whatever, doing this panorama are a different breed. The reason why I say that is because what it did was slow everything down. I would have loved the idea, you know what I'm saying, of like meeting my
I would have loved it
boyfriend.
Too. I don't know what happened.
You know, we was shut in. The shut in. We was quarantined by ourselves because we was. We weren't really doing it. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think people who were literally forced to be creative. Like, you couldn't even see people's teeth. Okay? For all those people who be looking at people's teeth. You couldn't even see this part of their faces. Yeah. If y'all was doing it right.
Right.
Mask on. Right. And so with that, like, I feel like that has allowed for people to have the mysterious parts of it. Like, you know, they got to have something to look forward to.
Yes.
When are we going to, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I'm able to hug you. I can't wait till I'm able, like, all those things that we took for granted. I just feel like people in 2020, God bless you, 2020 couples, extend the hand, God bless, stretch and agree, God bless y'all, let it continue to be all that it was.
But I also think with the 2020 couples, the first thing that comes to mind is endurance. There was a lot to endure during the pandemic, you know, like you can't see the person, then you have social distancing, then the world shut down, and you know there was a lot of things that could interfere with their relationships.
That is so real.
But they endured. Yes. And I'm finding that a lot of the couples that did meet in 2020 are now married. Like, I know a few couples that met during the pandemic and are now married. But it's something beautiful about that relationship because also, too, there wasn't the pressure of this world. Yeah. You know, the pressure. Yeah. And then also, you're truly meeting the person for who they are. You're not meeting their persona, or as most people like to say, their representative.
Right, some of them didn't even have haircuts. Let's talk about the fact that some of these did not have haircuts.
Let's talk about it.
And women, those who can't comb their own hair. Like, let's talk about it.
I don't have my lash extensions. I don't have my brows done. I don't have my nails done. Like,
wax where?
All I have is to present is myself.
And bare.
Yes. So that level of authenticity that started early and vulnerability.
You vulnerable because, like, it's not like you weren't going anywhere.
You weren't.
You can't pop up in a movie theater and literally just stare at a screen and that was your first date and not talk. You couldn't do that. Like, people were saying, oh my gosh, let me pull up next to your car, sit in my car with my mask on, and then laugh and joke from a distance. What?
Yeah.
Who would have thunk?
Who would have thunk? Literally. Who would have thunk?
That would be a perspective. But I do want to talk about, I had to ask myself if I wanted to go in here. But y'all know I'm going to keep it real. Okay?
Keep it real, sis.
I remember when I realized how single I was.
Ooh. Remember. Tell the truth.
I will shame him all the way. Listen, it was because I was talking to a friend. And it was right before everything was about to shut down. And my friend was like, oh my goodness, you should like go to your like mom's house or whatever because they don't have martial law. and you don't want to quarantine. We don't know when we're going to get out of this. And they're going to be having like patrol and all. It was all of this talk, right? Mm-hmm. There was going to be all these things. They did incorporate a lot of the stuff that was, projected. But I remember I had to think about it. I was like, apartment by myself. Not even a dog, y'all. I didn't even have no puppy, no animal, nothing. No goldfish. Nothing, right? So it was like my apartment by myself or my mom's house until whenever.
Right.
Then I kept thinking, so two things came to my mind. I'm like, goodness, some people, this is a different topic, but some people have someone that they could do life in those type of experiences with and talk that stuff through, like, oh my gosh, so how are we going to date during this time, or what we're going to do, or I'm going to call you in the morning. There's this schedule, like, you guys are literally scheduled to talk to each other, whereas for me, it's like, I just talk to my clients all day because I'm working from home. And then, of course, I have friends and other people, like, I was in communication with people, but I had to choose, like, whether or not I was going to be lonely. Yeah. Like, not lonely. What is it that we say?
By yourself.
Alone. It's the difference between being lonely and alone. Mm-hmm. Be alone or do this with my mom. And that's when I realized how single I was, that my other option was my mom.
Mama. Because mine would have been my grandma, because my mama got a cat. So I feel that.
I feel that. I really, and she didn't even know what she was saying to me, what dilemma was like, or what thoughts was going through my mind at the time. Was like, by myself or my mama, is that all? Like, that's the best that I got. That's the only options right now. But I will say, what is some of the things that you've been learning right now in your singleness that you believe has been preparing you for dating, and dating eventually that will lead to marriage?
I would say exposure. I have been very intentional about being around men, dating.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
I have been very intentional about it because I'm learning so much about myself, even in dating. Because we can say what we want in a spouse, like, just blindly. Yes. Like, I want this, I want that, I want that.
Checklist.
Yes, and then when you're actually with someone or you're dating someone, and that thing you thought you wanted, you find out it doesn't serve you. That's not what you want. That's not what you like.
Yes.
So I am truly learning Angel. In the midst of that, it's almost like dating has become a mirror, like a reflection of myself and areas that I need to work on.
Okay.
But also what I truly want in a spouse, longevity wise. Okay. Looks are great. We want to be attracted to our significant other, but having a man that can hold a conversation, that rarity. Let me tell you, that means so much to me. I never would have known something as simple as being with an intellectual man that can have a conversation would mean so much. And it's literally a deal breaker if I'm dating someone and they cannot hold a conversation, because it's like, what do we remotely have in common? Like, what can we talk about other than
throw out the basic topics? Politics,
sports, work, food. That's
a little bit more than what I was thinking, but
I just honestly,
that's a couple more than what I was.
I just needed to flow. I need the conversation to flow outside of what your hobbies are.
Yes.
And so that is one thing that I'm realizing that means a lot to me. And then also a person that is one thing that I run into on my dating journey. I'll tell you guys in a minute. But being with a man that doesn't see me as a threat, but someone that is willing to nurture my gifts, my talents, my purpose, someone that is willing to support that. Because we drive the same car.
We call ourselves
biz friends. We drive the same car, and I'm just going to tell this little short story. I went out and met up with a guy that I had been talking to.
Oh, I know this one.
And he is not from the area, so he was looking for parking, and we were trying to find each other, and it was dark. I wouldn't say it was late. It was dark.
Yeah, it wasn't that late.
And so we're on the phone, and I'm looking for his car, and he's trying to find mine, and so I bust the corner, I'm from Detroit, so we hit the U-turn, right? So I'm hitting the U-turn. And he was like, is that you? And I said, oh, where? You see me? Like, do you see me? And I never shared with him what kind of car I drive or anything.
Right, because why is that a conversation?
Why? I just...
That's weird.
Yeah. So he was like, is that you? And I'm like, you see me where? He was like, is that you in the Benz? And I said, yeah, you see me? I said, okay, so where you at? He was like, man, that's not what I was expecting. I at least thought you would have been in a Honda Civic.
What was you expecting, sir? A Honda? Is that why? I'm not going to talk about the location.
A Honda Civic?
What?
But the thing is,
why
it's a car.
It's a car to get you from A to B. Okay, so that's one point I think, like,
not being with a man that is intimidated.
Yes.
By me.
So speaking of that, I have my own story on that, and I remember this thing, and I was like, Angel,
yeah,
that is not good. That is not good, because I'm only speaking from my own experience. Like, I was dating this guy, and his perspective towards me, the hidden perspective. So, you know, we all have our guards up, right? We all have our things that we're like, wait, is that person? We all interviewing each other. Let's just be honest. Everybody's on the interview, right? Because you know, you have your things, your experiences, say, I don't want that again. So you're naturally kind of heightened to these things. So I remember this particular guy I was dating. He would often joke about, like, you know, I like nice things, you know. I'm not defined by them. And I'll drive a Honda Civic. I don't see anything wrong with that. I drove,
car.
You know, it's a car. It just takes you from A to B or Z, wherever.
I drove to Drea house with my whole bumper off.
Yes, and I picked you up on the side. Wait, I picked you up on the side of the road. Yes. But that's the thing. Literally, that doesn't matter, right? What you drive should not matter. Mm-hmm. But to some people, and I think this might be, if you could find this relatable to you, some people have an issue with things. I'm just saying that, with things. So people come with things, right? Mm-hmm. And some people have issues with material things. So I was dating this guy, and I remember his perspective of me was actually, it was a hidden perspective, right? It was something that I wasn't privy to and that he didn't tell me, but he governed himself like around me with that perspective that I had no idea until, because whatever you're meditating on, that stuff eventually manifests itself, right? And so eventually I found out what his thought process of me was after way too long. But there was keys and clues, like when you were talking about that was your first date with this guy. First. And I was thinking, I remember this guy will always talk about whatever shoes. I really like shoes, and I do. I think that they're fun. Collector of shoes. I'm a collector of shoes, sneakers, whatever, all of them, right? Flats, whatever. So, excuse me, this particular guy would often comment on my shoes, and I thought it was like hilarious. I was like, here you go, calm down. You know, we just joked. I thought it was funny. But no, he was actually counting my pair of shoes and was judging or gauging what he thought my ability to buy a shoe was in comparison to his ability, or what he thought his ability was to, where he was to buy shoes. Therefore, although we were equals, he didn't see us as equals. He saw me like this in one area, and he saw him like this. And so because of that, there was that tension that was often there. And the backhanded compliments, that the compliments weren't like from the heart, weren't genuine, they were backhanded, right? And that's what I learned later. So what I realized was that his perspective of me was, he was secretly, and maybe he was working through that, felt intimidated by my pair of shoes, because what it equated probably to him is that means she has this amount of, it's like, discretionary funds, right, after she pays her bills, because I pay my bills, that she has this amount of discretionary funds to buy this. And I'm noticing each or every other week, which wasn't true, because that's the thing, like, you might look like somebody, it's just all about how you do.
It's all about how I know how to dress,
right?
And I know how to maximize my pieces,
right? Exactly. So for him, it was a perspective of like, okay, maybe I can't, and it did become a conversation at some point, because again, these things are going to come up, right? Whether you fake the funk for however long, it's going to come up. So I think you said a key thing. And why am I single? There are a number of reasons why I'm single, right? It could be that I feel like I'm intentional, and at this point in our age, I've found with a lot of guys who don't want to be serious, right? Is they feel like they have all this time, you know, and they don't mind. But women not only think about just like, oh, at this point I'm thinking about this, they're also, if they're interested, are thinking about when they want to have a child growing in their belly.
This is very true.
And so that perspective, if they're saying I'm doing that only with marriage, makes that window of time all the more intentional.
It does.
Because it's not the men who carry the babies, it's the women.
Right.
And there is a certain like level of comfortability based on whatever age that person is. So that's another thing. I noticed that with guys, they feel like they're in their prime and all of that, and they really want to be established instead of build with the woman and grow with that woman. And I'm not saying that's all guys, and this is not a bashing the guys who might be popping up on here, but I think that's what I would say for me is that intimidation sometimes.
And while I commend you, because while it was a lie, thankfully you noted that and didn't internalize somebody else's perception of you. Like,
I considered the thought.
Okay.
But growth told me that that's not true.
Amen.
So when someone you care about shares something with you and it's concerning to them and they seem distraught about it, you know, it only makes sense that you would consider it. Mm-hmm. Like, oh wait, am I presenting? Am I doing this? Am I being, you know, whatever, high maintenance, whatever that lie is, whatever, you know, am I doing this? And then of course, as you sit with that long enough and you notice the pattern of the individual, you realize I could wear the same pairs of shoes for 6-7 weeks, but my intellect might intimidate you. Yes. My creativeness might intimidate you. Yeah. You know, so it's about being able to, I think for me, it's being able to complement that. Now you said nurture and all of that. I think that's great. I wouldn't say for me that I want him to nurture that. But I would definitely say I want him to respect that, and be encouraging of me being my happiest. Mm-hmm. And if my happiest is me, you know, creating something or being an entrepreneur and the business is going well and stuff like that, then that to me shows you care and you love me because this is what I came with. Right. You know?
Definitely support. I think that means a lot. I do not want my significant other to be jealous of my accomplishments, my ambition, my independence to an extent. Right. I definitely want him to, like Drea said, compliment all of those assets of who I am. Yes. There was one thought that came to mind when you were talking
about my story about the particular guy I was dating.
Yes, but no. Oh, why am I single? I think too, as Christian women, I think the first thing that comes to my mind that is literally probably right across my forehead at this point.
Y'all don't see it? Zoom in.
Please zoom in. I just haven't been presented with God's best for me yet.
Okay, so you know this is a whole nother conversation.
It is a conversation.
But I want you to, while we're wrapping up the podcast, I want you to kind of go and what do you mean? Because that's a loaded statement.
It is
God's
very
best.
It's very loaded. But what I simply mean by that is
what God think is best for you. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
So you're not talking about you gotta have this 6-figure, this. It's not a list.
No. I'm talking about spiritual compatibility.
Okay. Which is the best person you would want to be
absolutely
with. Someone who can tap into some spirit.
Absolutely. You know. I think that is the most. Looks matter, but your relationship with Christ is the ultimate thing that is attractive to me. And realizing that I should not settle. So a lot of being single for me is realizing my worth and not settling for the sake of having a man, having a boyfriend. One thing Drea tells me all the time is like, Angel, you could have a boyfriend. You are choosing to wait on what God really has for you and to not settle. So
yes, and I'm gonna say it again right now. Angel, you could have a boyfriend.
I could.
But you're waiting on the boyfriend.
I am waiting on my person.
Yes.
I am waiting on my person.
Love it.
And while yet the wait is difficult, waiting isn't easy.
Yes, okay, that's a whole nother conversation because I have a perspective on that right now. And we're coming to the end with this podcast, but that is something, you guys stay tuned. But I do want you to want to comment on the waiting thing. The waiting doesn't mean, like you mentioned a couple things in this conversation, not being exposed to people that you might be interested in dating. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's anywhere, parties, things open up, coffee shops, parks, or whatever the case may be. You have to come out of your comfort zone.
Come from among them.
Yes, because a lot of times people think that God's best is the person that everything that they want, but it's what they need. And I think that is what I'm learning too, is like God's best is the man that is going to challenge me, inspire me to be even better, than where I am, my best self. So seeing things, if I'm too tough about things, I believe that if we're using your terms, God's best would be, for me, is to have someone who maybe show a more gentle approach,
and just
perspective.
Ultimately being led by the Holy Spirit. I cannot wait for my man. I just cannot wait for us to be in tune to where he's able to pick up on things that I'm necessarily not able to, and I'm able to pick. Like, I cannot wait for us to be just spiritually in tune with each other,
compatible.
Yes.
It's so great, like hearing people talk about like when they find their person, their perspective, and they're Christians, so they have the same values as us, so we can kind of like, okay, it makes sense, because dating.
Can I say this one?
Yes, absolutely.
I just need to brag on our friend who just got married not even a month ago.
Okay. Yes, let's do that.
Her relationship has been almost kind of like the blueprint in the sense of what waiting on God looks like, truly waiting, but actively.
Break it down, because I really have been wanting to say this. As a matter of fact, that friend will be showing up, I believe, is it next week? I think in 2 weeks. I will see. So y'all, stay tuned.
But just actively living her life.
Yeah.
But still waiting
in the promises.
In the
promises.
Yes. And so now that she's married, I don't even know if she realizes that her simple interactions with her husband are teaching me. It's teaching me. So, prime example, I was out on another date. No, this was the same food. I was out.
Wait, no, please. Is that this young man?
I was out on a date with the same guy that was saying I should have drove a Honda Civic. And so,
was he in a Honda Civic?
No, he was in a Ford.
Okay, don't worry about it. It was a nice I thought he just wanted her to match him. That's all. I'm trying to think of the be all positive and stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he had a very nice car. However, the way that he looked at me made me uncomfortable. And what I'm getting to is, I think there is a distinct difference with a man that has a foundation with Christ, like a saved man of God. Like, they exist, and their character and their fruit really speak volumes without them saying much of anything. And so the way that he would look at me, granted, you do want your man to be interested, and
but he wasn't your man.
He wasn't. But you do want the guy that you are entertaining, in a sense, to be interested and find you attractive and all of that. But it was almost like this lustful look in his eyes that made me very uncomfortable. I actually ended up having to call Drea, sneaking away on the date, and had to call her. But it made me so uncomfortable to where I was like, I'm just going to leave. And I didn't give a reason. I didn't give an explanation. I just was like, I just have to go. To my point of our friend that just got married.
Yes. Great example.
I remember when we went out to eat, and she had us eating in the car, in my brand new car, okay? Burgers, y'all.
What?
Burgers.
These cars keep
burgers and fries.
I should have smeared some ketchup all over her car.
No, burgers and fries. You know how you want to keep your car clean when you first get it.
I understand that.
And so my car was smelling like burgers and fries and onion rings. But her fiance at the time showed up, and the way he looked at her was just, it was almost like he was in awe. But it was a healthy look.
It was a pure place of like pure love.
It was pure love.
It was love in spite of. She was looking, probably had ketchup all down.
We were eating. Just anytime she talked, he would just gaze at her.
Undivided attention.
It was like he saw nothing else but her. Mm-hmm. And so in that moment,
and we were in their line sight. We were.
So me and Drea was in a car, and then they were in a car. We were next to each other. Mm-hmm. But I thought about that moment when I was on the date with that guy, of how my friend's fiance looked at her in just a pure sense of love, and how this guy is looking at me, but it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me cringe almost. I knew that it was kind of wrapped in lust, and that has helped me, just seeing an example of in our age range of like pure godly love and relationships. Yeah. And it's almost beautiful. Like I'm like, well, he didn't look at her that way, and I know this is how this is supposed to feel and how this is supposed to look, and it didn't look like that, and I got up out of there.
Yeah.
And so
on that note, I'm sorry, did you finish?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, on that note, guys, I first of all want to say thank you so much for this. Y'all don't know what we had to go through. But I just want to say thank you so much, Angel, for just jumping on the podcast from your perspective. Y'all going to hear from her again soon, because we talk a lot. We do life together. So And so a lot of our conversations are that we're bringing to you all, we've already had with one another on several occasions. So I really hope that this perspective, that Angel, check out Angel, I'm gonna put her in the description box, her handles of all her social media. She's a whole entrepreneur. Y'all understand why she says what she says once you see the call that she has on her life. Okay. So that's, with that being said, and that makes sense to me.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
It makes sense.
Did it make sense to you?
Did it make sense to you?
Put in the comment box. Yes. Did it make sense to you?
Thumbs up the video, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and check out Angel's social media platforms. She is on them all. Even
Instagram,
on
Instagram, TikTok.
You public with your TikTok?
I ain't gotta tell them the name, but I am on TikTok.
Okay, she on TikTok, but she ain't sharing that. Okay, she a private little TikTok. But anyway, with that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all were able to make it to the end of the video and you had some nuggets from this conversation and discussion. Please comment below your favorite points, or if you have some input on that or can relate. And I'll see you all next week. We have a very special episode next week because it's your girl's birthday. It's your girl's birthday next week. So check us out. And then on every Sunday, the podcast episodes launch. So make sure you guys turn on your bell notifications. All right, y'all.
Bye.